"I'll be back." Just 4 simple words, but they changed everything. When Arnold Schwarzenegger said this famous line in the 1984 movie The Terminator, he had no idea it would become one of the most quoted phrases in movie history. But here's the amazing part. English wasn't even his first language. The man who would become one of Hollywood's biggest action stars started his journey speaking German in a small Austrian village. Can you imagine? The future governor of California once struggled with English pronunciation so much that movie directors didn't want to cast him because of his thick Austrian accent. Today, we're going to explore Arnold's incredible journey from a bodybuilder who could barely speak English to becoming one of America's most recognizable voices. Arnold Schwarzenegger was born in 1947 in Thal, Austria, a tiny village with only 2,000 people. Growing up, he spoke only German and had never even heard native English speakers in person. His world was small, but his dreams were enormous. When Arnold first arrived in America in 1968 at age 21, he faced a harsh reality. Despite being incredibly successful in bodybuilding, winning Mr. Universe at just 20 years old, his English was terrible. He could understand some basic words and phrases, but speaking, that was a completely different story. "I was like a child again," Arnold later recalled. "In Austria, I was this confident guy who could talk to anyone about anything. But in America, I felt stupid. I couldn't express my thoughts properly. People would look at me strangely when I tried to speak." His Austrian accent was so thick that even other bodybuilders at the gym had trouble understanding him. Simple conversations became frustrating battles. He would know exactly what he wanted to say in German, but when he tried to translate it to English, the words would come out wrong or not at all. The entertainment industry was even crueler. When Arnold first dreamed of becoming an actor in the early 1970s, casting directors would take one look at him and shake their heads. "Your English is impossible to understand," they would say. "Maybe you should stick to bodybuilding." Some agents told him directly that his accent was too thick and too foreign for American audiences. One particularly painful memory that Arnold often shares is from his early acting attempts. He auditioned for small roles, but directors couldn't understand half of what he was saying. They would ask him to repeat lines over and over, and even then, they weren't satisfied. He felt embarrassed and discouraged, wondering if he would ever be able to communicate effectively in English. But Arnold Schwarzenegger was not someone who gave up easily. If he could transform his body from a skinny teenager to Mr. Olympia 7 times, he believed he could transform his English too. His breakthrough moment came when he realized he needed to approach learning English the same way he approached bodybuilding, with discipline, dedication, and a systematic plan. First, he decided to immerse himself completely. He moved to Venice Beach, California, where he would be surrounded by English speakers all day, every day. But he went further than just living in an English-speaking environment. He made a commitment that might sound extreme to some learners. He stopped speaking German entirely, even with his Austrian friends. "I told all my Austrian friends," Arnold explained, "if you want to talk to me, we speak English. No more German. I know it sounds harsh, but I needed to force myself." Next, Arnold hired a speech coach, something very unusual for bodybuilders in the 1970s. He worked with a professional teacher 3 times a week, focusing specifically on pronunciation and reducing his accent. But here's the clever part. Instead of trying to completely eliminate his accent, his coach taught him to control it. They worked on making his speech clearer while keeping some of his distinctive Austrian charm. Arnold also developed some creative learning techniques. He would watch American TV shows and movies over and over, repeating the dialogue out loud. His favorites were Western movies and comedies because the actors spoke clearly. He would practice in front of a mirror, watching his mouth movements to improve his pronunciation. Perhaps most importantly, he started reading everything he could get his hands on. Newspapers, magazines, books about business and success. He carried a small dictionary everywhere and would look up every word he didn't understand immediately. He didn't just learn the meanings, he practiced using new words in sentences until they became natural. The real breakthrough came when Arnold realized that his accent could actually be an advantage, not just an obstacle. Instead of being ashamed of where he came from, he started to embrace his unique voice. He learned to speak clearly and confidently, but he kept the accent that made him distinctive. Impact of English. Mastering English didn't just change Arnold's career. It completely transformed his life and opened doors he never could have imagined. In bodybuilding, his improved English allowed him to become more than just a competitor. He could now give interviews, write articles for fitness magazines, and eventually author books about training and nutrition. His charismatic personality, combined with his ability to communicate effectively, made him the face of bodybuilding in America. But the real magic happened in Hollywood. Once Arnold could communicate clearly, directors began to see past his accent to his natural charisma and screen presence. His breakthrough role came in 1982 with Conan the Barbarian. While he still had his Austrian accent, he delivered his lines with such power and confidence that audiences loved it. The accent that once seemed like a disadvantage became part of his unique appeal. The Terminator, in 1984, was the game changer. Director James Cameron initially hesitated to cast Arnold because of his accent, but then realized that the accent actually made perfect sense for a robot from the future. "I'll be back" became iconic partly because of how Arnold said it, with his distinctive pronunciation and powerful delivery. His English skills allowed him to take on diverse roles, from action hero to comedian. Movies like Twins and Kindergarten Cop proved that he could handle complex dialogue and comedic timing. He wasn't just an action star, he was a versatile actor who could connect with audiences through humor and emotion. But Arnold's mastery of English took him even beyond entertainment. He became a successful businessman, investing in real estate and restaurants. His ability to negotiate deals, give presentations, and build relationships with American business partners was crucial to his financial success. The ultimate proof of how far his English had come was his entry into politics. In 2003, Arnold was elected governor of California, one of the most demanding communication jobs in America. He had to give speeches, debate complex policies, and communicate with millions of diverse constituents. The Austrian bodybuilder who once struggled to order food in English was now running the world's fifth largest economy. Throughout his political career, Arnold's unique speaking style actually became one of his strengths. Voters found him authentic and relatable. His accent reminded people that he was living proof of the American dream, someone who came from humble beginnings and achieved success through hard work and determination. Takeaway for English learners. Arnold Schwarzenegger's English journey offers powerful lessons for anyone learning the language. Here are the key strategies you can apply to your own learning. Embrace immersion, but make it strategic. Arnold didn't just live in America. He actively chose to surround himself with English in every aspect of his life. You can do this too, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country. Change your phone settings to English. Watch English Netflix shows. Listen to English podcasts during your commute. Make English a part of your daily routine, not just something you study for an hour. Don't hide your accent. Control it. Arnold's biggest lesson is that you don't need to sound exactly like a native speaker to be successful. Focus on being clear and confident rather than perfect. Your accent is part of your identity, and it can actually make you more memorable and interesting. Practice speaking every single day. Arnold practiced speaking in front of mirrors and repeated movie dialogues. Find ways to speak English daily, even if it's just talking to yourself. Record yourself reading news articles or describing your day. The key is consistency, not perfection. Learn through your interests. Arnold used bodybuilding magazines, business books, and Western movies to improve his English. Choose content you're genuinely interested in, whether it's cooking videos, sports news, or music interviews. You'll learn faster when you're enjoying the process. Set communication goals, not just study goals. Instead of saying, "I want to study English for 30 minutes today," try, "I want to have a 5-minute conversation in English today," or "I want to understand this English podcast episode." Focus on using English for real communication. Remember, Arnold Schwarzenegger went from struggling to order food to giving speeches as governor of California. If he can do it, so can you. The secret isn't talent or luck. It's consistent practice, smart strategies, and the confidence to keep speaking even when you make mistakes. Your accent, your mistakes, your unique way of expressing yourself. These aren't obstacles to overcome. They're part of your journey to becoming a confident English speaker. Just like Arnold, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be understood, confident, and authentic. As Arnold himself would say, "I'll be back." And with each conversation, each practice session, each small improvement, you'll be back stronger in English than before.